Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? Welcome to Be Healed Webshow. I am your host, Camille R. Perry, and I'm so excited and proud to have my friend, my former classmate on the show on tonight in the person of Mr. Aaron Bratton. But before we get to him and hear all about his amazing life journey and where God is yet taking him to, let's first get into some announcements. Announcement number one, hope you all are doing well. Hope all is flowing and going your way. If it's not, don't worry, hold on. It's going to get better, okay? Keep the faith. But most importantly, if this is your first time tuning in to our Be Healed Web Show, whether you're watching via YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe. That nice red button, hit subscribe. And if you're watching on Facebook, share it, reshare it, tag someone. And tonight I'm going to ask you guys to tag someone who lives in Ontario, California. That's right. Ontario, you know where the airport is, right? Ontario Mall. Remember the outlet mall? Remember that? Okay. Ontario, my hometown where I grew up. I want you guys to highlight that because this gentleman that I'm getting ready to introduce, he's running for city council. And I want all of his constituents, and I would say my former constituency, because I used to be a part of Ontario and that good old portion of that Ontario Montclair School District area. But now I'm over here in Moreno Valley, but I want you to support him. So let me tell you a little bit about my friend Aaron. Aaron is not only an amazing friend, gentleman, kind guy, but he is the son of the late Walter Bratton Sr., son to as well. His beautiful mom, Mrs. Bratton, has an abundance of siblings, as well as he's a proud uncle. He graduated from Ontario High, class of 2002, because this is our 20th year, go figure. We did that together. Now, after he finished, he went to Chaffey, like most of us, to our junior college, but he continued on his academic journey. And he went to Cal State San Bernardino and then later to Pepperdine University. Listen, this gentleman is a genius. This gentleman is very smart. He's very intellectually sound, and I'm excited. He not only got his degree in law, but he passed the bar, y'all. He's a lawyer. So listen, don't be in the chat just asking questions like, trying to get free legal fees. Don't do that, okay? We're not going to do that tonight. But I want to make sure you stay in contact with him. But Aaron has been appointed to the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Community Commission. That means he's advocating for others. He's a true advocate. Not only that, he serves on a multiplicity of boards, and he's even the CEO and founder of our Shining City Advisors LLC, which is a boutique consulting firm that actually empowers small business owners and nonprofit agencies. So I'm all excited about that because I'm going to see how he can help 3Ps and other churches that we have, Be Healed itself. Listen, let me just bring this guy in because as he talks to us tonight on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, I'm confident you'll see why he's the best fit to be city council for the city of Ontario. Let's welcome my friend in, Mr. Aaron Bratton. Welcome.
Hello there, old friend. How you doing, Camille?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored, Can't complain.
Absolutely. So you are an attorney. Yeah. But most importantly, you're a son, right? I think you're a pretty good brother. I think Walter and your siblings would say the same.
I hope so. And we have our sibling rivalries that's playful and I had a great childhood upbringing with my siblings, my big bros. I have 3 older brothers, 2 little sisters. So
okay,
we all get along very well.
That's good. Now, are you?
You wouldn't tell by the jokes we crack because we kind of rough on the jokes.
Well, I mean, the rougher, the more love. I think that's actually what it means. The rougher, the more love.
I agree.
So what birth order are you? Are you the middle or the baby?
I'm the baby boy. I have three
Yeah.
older brothers and two
Yeah.
little sisters. So when boy,
Gotcha.
boy, boy, then me, then girl, girl. So I'm
Okay.
the baby boy. Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I've always called you Walter's baby brother. I was like, that's Walter's baby
Yeah,
brother.
I
Yeah.
am. I am. Very much. Happy belated birthday to him. He just had his birthday last week.
He did. Does this make him 41?
I don't know if he won't be telling. 40, maybe 42. Maybe 42.
Listen, time be flying.
Yeah, he's 42.
Man.
Ooh.
Oof. What
Ooh.
happened? These
Well,
these these folks is two scores and two. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's going on? So I just want to ask you real quick, and let's get into this. When I asked you about your theme, how you would title your life story, you replied back with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What does that mean for you?
man, that's in politics, my bachelor's degree, political science, but also my law degree, Constitution, the founding of America is kind of like deeply instilled into you, drilled into you when you take those type of classes. And so obviously that's a play on Thomas Jefferson, Declaration of Independence, We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their creator, certain unalienable rights, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, So life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We all have the right to have a good life, enjoy life, have
Mhm.
freedom, have liberty, and do what makes you happy. Pursuit of happiness. That's
Very,
just what that's the core of what I believe in.
that's good. That's good. So let's break those down into segments. So let's talk about your life. What has been probably the highest of highs for you, and maybe some of the challenging things that you've had to overcome?
Um, hmm. The highest of highs will probably be graduation, at all the levels. High school graduation, that was a good day. Undergrad, law school, passing the bar. Those bar results,
Yes, I saw that reaction
that was
video.
probably one of my highest moments. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it has a very special significance now because, my dad passed away. And
Mhm.
so he got to see my results before he passed. So that's
Yeah,
good. It always
absolutely.
it always warms me up knowing that he knew that his son passed the bar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That I'm confident, your dad was such a giant in the community, such a giant pillar at Mount Zion, of Ontario. Um, you know, have you always felt the pressure to be great?
Uh, I guess so. Pressure to be, I guess, good, great. I don't know, but pressure to be good.
Mhm.
Um, but that's not just from my dad. Shoot, that's from my big bros too. My big brothers were always my big brothers are like the coolest, funniest people to me. You know,
Okay.
most people know my brother Walt, but even before Walt was Marcus and Marlo, and they
Mhm.
were the coolest guys. I just always admired my big brothers, no matter what. So I just always wanted to be like them.
Mm.
Whether it's sports, because Walt was good in basketball, but
Yeah.
Marcus was good at football. I think he played soccer too, football and baseball. Marlo, my oldest brother Marlo, was pretty academic too. So he was the first one to get accepted to college. I think he went to UCLA. Well, I know he
Okay.
went to UCLA. So yeah, I just always admired my big bros. So they had pressure for me to be great in something, sports or
Yeah.
academics. Yeah.
That's good.
My
That's good.
the pressure with my dad was
Mhm.
more so to be good from, I would say, a moral sense.
Mm. Okay.
So when I say good, I mean like ethically, morally good.
Mhm.
I think my dad was the quintessential like goody two shoes, and not to mean that as a bad thing, but he was very much a Christ follower and a
Okay.
role model of how to do the right thing, even when no one's looking, especially when no one's looking. Your integrity. So you know, his Christian faith was his backbone, and Mount Zion, he served as the longest serving deacon. at Mount Zion. And yeah, that was my dad. My dad was as close to a priest without being a priest. So that was
Yeah.
the pressure from my dad, just always being morally and ethically sound.
Yeah. I get that. So the influence of your father weighs heavily, I would imagine, of the decision that you make. So looking at everything and you being the baby boy, but also having two younger sisters that, have four guys that they can look to, including dad. So five men that they can look to and say, wow, this is what manhood, what good fathers, good husband, good man overall is supposed to look like. What made you want to pursue the advocacy route in law?
I wish I had a I don't know. I wish I had a more heartwarming story to it other than binge watching Law and Order. So
That's fine.
that's really that's really what the root cause of it was. So growing up, I actually my number one thing, and my siblings will attest to this because I was biggest nerd in a different type of way.
Mhm.
I wanted to be a zookeeper. So
Really?
oh, absolutely, and I still love animals to this day. But from kindergarten, probably preschool, all the way up until high school, everything was animals. Animal Planet, Discovery Channel, animal books. I knew every type of snake, every type of whale, every type of shark, every type of bird. Oh, what's the fastest bird? The peregrine falcon. It flies 235 miles per hour. Like I just knew a lot of stuff about animals. I just was obsessed with
Mhm.
animals. And so um, until I binge watched Law and Order with my girlfriend at the time. Uh,
Mhm.
Said, well, my family also knew me as someone who was very argumentative. So
Okay.
always growing up, I was argumentative. But I don't know, I never applied it to law
Mhm.
until that natural personality of being argumentative, you know, coalesced with a girlfriend who said, you never watched Law and Order? I said, no, I never watched Law and Order. So we watched it one time, and I got hooked, and it was a marathon. You know how those marathons are, where like as soon as the credits
Boom.
go on, the next opening scene with Lenny Briscoe, finding a dead
Yeah.
body somewhere starts. I binge watched 8, 9 episodes that day straight, back to back. Yeah. I was like, man, I've been missing out. So I was watching Law and Order then. So the main lawyer, and this is the original. This ain't no spinoff. This ain't
Yes, that's what I was going to. I'm
you.
like, it ain't the original. What you really doing though?
This ain't Criminal Intent. This ain't Special Victim. This is the original regular Law and Order, 20 seasons. The main lawyer, Jack McCoy. I
Yes.
just got fascinated by Jack McCoy. So that's when I went back to school to pursue law. I got obsessed with Law and Order.
Well, first of all, I don't want you to discredit yourself and say that it's not a glamorous story, because I think our generation, we didn't, we might have saw Matlock and Perry Mason
Oh
because our
yeah,
parents were watching it, right? But Law and Order definitely was for us,
yeah.
and so no problem there. But it explains so much. You working for the district attorney's office. That's what Jack McCoy did. He started off as ADA, then became the DA, and whatnot. So,
Yeah. So I'm
um,
not, just to clarify, I'm not working for the district attorney.
okay,
I'm on a commission. So
ah,
it's an appointed position
okay,
for DA. His name is Jason Anderson, a great guy. District
mhm,
Attorney Jason Anderson has a community commission. And what we do is we meet up and we go over like crime data, you know,
okay,
over across the whole county.
mhm,
There's the West End and Central and the High Desert, whatnot. But we go over crime data and we review trends. We
mhm,
go over what type of cases his office is pursuing, primarily what kind of cases they're declining, because
mhm,
law enforcement agencies um, from all the municipalities, obviously the sheriffs, which just covers the whole county, but the different municipalities, whether it's Fontana PD, Ontario PD, Chino Hills is the sheriff. Um, San Bernardino City, like when they have cases, they file them with the DA, but the DA has the authority to accept the case or not.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so some cases they feel like there's not enough evidence and they decline the case. And then that's what we do. We keep track of crime data across the county,
Wow.
trend.
Now I have genuine questions on that.
And we
Okay.
ask questions. We ask questions to him,
Yeah.
and it's like a hybrid type of thing. We go over crime data, but then he also educates us on a lot of stuff that's
Mhm.
happening in our county. Yeah. And programs, and he has like a youth outreach program, well, Know Your Rights program. It's very interesting. We did a what was it, like a police shooting simulation a few
Okay.
weeks ago. Yeah. So Riverside DA Mike Hestron,
Mhm. Mhm.
his office has a like state of the art system where it's like a almost like a video game. It's pretty much a video game, but it's super
Yeah.
high quality.
Virtual
So
reality type
virtual
augmented.
reality thing,
Yeah.
and they have these different scenarios that they set up, and yeah, it's intense, and it's very much an eye opening experience. Their little police shooting simulation they have there. So we did that a couple weeks ago. That was great.
Mhm.
Let me plug my battery might die.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. All right, all set.
So here's my question for you. Given that information, working in that appointed role for the District Attorney Commission's Office for San Bernardino County, and seeing simulations that relate to police involved shootings, as who you are, the man that you are, in I guess we're considered millennials, even though I don't ascribe to a lot of the millennial thought process. How do you interpret? Do you layer it? Do you break it down by you being Aaron Bratton, son of Ontario type, portion? Do you break it down as you being a law practitioner? Like, what lens do you look at the things like that are so heavy, that are so politically charged? How do you process that information?
I try to process it like a regular Joe Schmo citizen. Um, well, but depending on the situation, a lot of times you have to process it from the point of view of the officer too.
Hmm.
Um, so in one of the scenarios that we went through, there was a situation in Chino. This was a real situation footage that we saw in Chino of a police officer going to a scene. There was a distressed man in the parking lot. He called the police and said
Okay.
someone was following him, and he's sitting. The car pulls up, and the cop car pulls up, and he says someone was following me. So the cop walks up to the window and says, "What's going on?" He goes, "Someone's following me." And so he goes back to his car,
Hmm.
maybe 5 steps away, and you're watching the body cam footage, and he turns his back. And when he turns back around, the guy that was sitting in the car is outside of the car with a knife,
What?
not even, I'm telling you, like 8 feet away, 10 feet away. He was right there. All he did was blink. He turned his back for a split second to get something back out of his cop car. When he turned back around, that guy who called the police himself
Mm.
got out of the vehicle and had a knife on him. And unfortunately, he had to use lethal force on that in that situation. But I watched that video and I'm like, oh shoot, that's a
Mm.
scary situation. That's a justified situation.
Yeah.
That that guy, he turned his back, and when he turned back around, the guy he was trying to help pulled out a knife on him.
Yeah.
Then there's another situation where they were a little more questionable. A little more questionable. There's been quite a few controversial cases in San Bernardino County, like the Deontay Yarber shooting up in
Yeah.
Barstow. Um, LaWanna Phillips shooting was in Victorville.
Mm.
Those are that come to mind. The Nathaniel Pickett case was also in Barstow. That one was the largest uh, civil suit, I think, in the country. That
Really?
the mom won because it was ruled that it was unnecessary use of lethal force on him. He was a uh, what's the word? I don't know if he was autistic, but he was definitely,
Oh, yeah, he
and
was.
he was unarmed. He was just walking home, and yeah, that happened in Barstow, and so that family was vindicated because they
Mhm.
won their lawsuit. So it's a case by case basis,
Yeah,
like the Chino one. I saw it with my own two eyes. I'm like, woo! I'm glad that guy was that. I think he intended to like have death by suicide by
yeah,
cop in that
suicide.
situation.
Yeah,
Maybe I don't know, but it was it's case by case, case by
yeah.
case.
I think that's interesting. It's very helpful and refreshing for you to say that you look at it, one as a regular constituent, I want to say consumer because my mind is always so corporatized, but as a regular citizen, but then as well as looking at it from every lens and overall knowing everything is case by case when we're living in a world that everyone is trying to assign a generality across.
Hmm.
And there are some areas where it is very much systemic. We know there's systemic issues. We know that. We know that there's also other things that are in place, but we still got to remember each situation being different. So I think just going to do a little plug as you're running for city council, having someone that's even minded and even keeled with processing and knowing that you have to look at it multiple perspectives. You have to be able to discern and pray over where it should lead and look at the facts and not go off emotion. That's heavy.
Yep,
So
yep. All those
yeah,
shootings are very fact specific, very contingent on the circumstances
mhm,
in that moment. Yeah,
yeah,
you can't
absolutely.
paint with a broad brush on those type of situations.
Absolutely. Okay, so you graduated, multiple times. You passed the bar. You have been appointed and you serve in the Kiwanis. I think I said, did I say that right? Kiwanis?
Yeah, Kiwanis.
Yeah. Tell me more about, like, first of all, what is that?
Like this is what I would say. I think everyone should join a service club.
Okay. I'm in
My
a sorority. Does that count?
A lot of sororities do good work, so that could count. A lot of sororities do
Oh,
community
yeah,
service.
I'm looking at you. You saying that
A lot of sorority. I don't know. Does your sorority do community service?
of course.
And that counts. A lot of churches. So, but there are service clubs that
Hmm.
do great work out in the community. And to me, my challenge to everyone is always join one. I'm not saying you have to join Kiwanis. I love the Kiwanis.
Hmm.
I'm also a member of Rotary Club. There's another organization called the Elks Lodge.
Hmm.
Um, there's Lions. Um,
I know there's links for the women.
yeah. So,
Hmm.
and then there's churches. Most churches do great community service. They have like homeless outreach or food pantries. You
Yep.
know, just get involved and do something. You don't have to join Kiwanis. You don't have to join Elks. You don't have to join Rotary. But join one of them. I'm a little bit of a I don't know. I'm involved in a little bit, probably too much. I'm involved in a lot of stuff, and so I like all these organizations. And really,
Mhm.
what happens is you go visit an organization, and you'll get a vibe if you like it, if they like you, if you feel welcome. And for some people, they go to one organization, meeting, and they don't feel welcome. They don't go back.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
know, that happens. And so that doesn't mean don't do community service. That just means okay, go to a different one. And sometimes the same organization, but different chapters have different cultures and vibes.
You better
So
preach.
I'm part of the Ontario Montclair Kiwanis, but there's actually two Ontario Kiwanis organizations. And then, so I'm part of Ontario Montclair Kiwanis, but there's, Upland and Riverside and Moval. There's Kiwanis clubs all over. Chino, Kiwanis. Um, Same with Rotary Club. There's different Rotary clubs. So just pick one. Go visit. You don't have to join. You definitely don't join the first day. Just go visit and get a vibe off of that group. Get a
Mhm.
vibe off that group. And if you don't get a good vibe off any of these organizations,
Mhm.
go look in the mirror. It's probably you because these organizations are filled with great people who
Yeah.
care about their community and want to get back to the community. So yeah, if you don't get a good vibe from one, that could just be some type of chemistry thing. But if none of these groups are welcoming to you,
That's just good old common denominator, right? Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
only thing in this equation that has not changed is you. So
yeah. And
yeah.
churches, though, my church, my home church, because I visit a lot of churches too.
Mhm.
Um, but my home church, Mount Zion, has so many different ministries.
Mhm.
Yeah, they got a obviously the uh, uh, food pantry
Mhm.
ministry um, for like low income or homeless, but they got like a car show ministry, so that's
Hmm.
pretty cool. Yeah, Pastor Young, I don't know if you know Richard Young, we call him Bubba.
No.
Pastor Young is a aficionado of like classic cars. So he has some like I don't know 53 Ford Chevy or something
Really?
restored, beautiful ruby red vehicle. And a lot of people in our church have classic cars, so they just get together and they have a classic car ministry.
Wow.
And they use that to disciple actually and evangelize because they invite other community members
Mhm.
with community car with classic cars to come join. And obviously they like to talk about the cars, oh, what you got on the I got a now I'm gonna show that I actually don't know about cars. I'm like, well, I got a 357 Hemi, blow, all that car talk they be saying. And then you start, talking about Jesus Christ and whatnot, evangelizing.
Absolutely. So how do you maintain actually I'm gonna have to give this information to my dad regarding Pastor Young because my dad just did an outreach event over in Pomona at Pastor Fasto's church where they had classic cars and different things. And I'm like, this might be another I'm gonna invite you to our Faith in Blue event that we're having on October 7th in Norco. Would love for you to attend.
Mm.
So you can, meet some folks because we do have members that still live in Ontario that come to our church. So that's another point there. But how do you balance your faith in politics? Because we've seen it in church, right? Where um, sometimes people use that platform to um, defend their views or to promote their thoughts or to and we've seen it in the media where one would try to make one right the other wrong, call right wrong, wrong right. How do you handle all of that as you're running for city official? How are you handling being a man of faith as well as a man in politics?
Well, that is why you got to just be rooted in integrity and ethics because there is some shady stuff that gets proposed,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some blurred lines on some things. So you just want to make sure you stay ethical, stay rooted in, right and wrong. But the church has some churches are politicized.
Mm-hmm.
Some churches are politicized. You know, my church, my pastor stays very neutral.
Mm-hmm.
He's really good with that. And you know, some churches are politicized though. But as far as being in the political space, I just try to stay kind, walk like Christ. I don't bash anyone. I don't, try to backstab anyone, nothing treacherous, just be honest and sincere and helpful. Try to be helpful, pretty much collaborative. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, listen, I agree. I think that's the way we should be, but not only did I binge watch all of Law and Order, but I've also watched I think they had a few seasons of Boss that Kelsey Grammer when he played
I've heard
Edmund.
about it. I never watched it.
Listen. Whew, listen. It's so much and then we see it. We see different tactics that people like to impose. And, as former First Lady Michelle Obama would always say, when they go low, we go high, right?
Mhm.
And how to maintain that. But wanting to just ask you, because this is I believe this is your first time running for city council, correct?
Yep. It's my
Okay.
first time being on the front end as a candidate. Again, my degree's in political science, so I don't know. I've been involved. I've worked on a lot of campaigns behind the scenes, but I've never been the candidate.
So how do you feel being the candidate right now?
It's exciting and scary at the same time. It's exciting and it's scary at the same time.
Okay. So let's just go ahead. Let's just go ahead and go into your spiel, go into your whole political portion right now. We're going to do some hot questions.
Okay.
How are you going to be an asset to the city of Ontario by sitting on the council?
Oh man. Well, I have a lot of relationships, deep relationships in the city. I'm a very collaborative thinker. So, when I know someone has a project or, I don't know, organization or business, I always try to see how we can collaborate amongst the different other entities in the city. So I have a lot of relationships that I can lean on. I have a lot of, uh, I would say, education to understand the law and understand policy. Law and policy is very important. Um, I just think we need fresh ideas, fresh leadership right
Mhm.
now. Um, I think that's what I'll bring to the table: fresh ideas, fresh leadership, and deep relationships to get stuff done.
Awesome, awesome, fresh perspective. I like that. So, what is your slogan or your mantra?
I kind of said it already.
Oh, okay.
Fresh leadership
Hmm.
for a brighter Ontario.
Fresh leadership for a brighter Ontario. Love that.
Yeah.
And
'Cause I don't want to. I don't want to. I want to. I don't like to, like I said, criticize the incumbents. The people
Mhm.
who've been running the city. Uh, Primarily, I think there's an appetite for fresh leadership because they've been there for 25, 30 years,
Yeah.
and so a lot of people are just saying, "Hey, it's time for some fresh leadership, fresh ideas."
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely. We're grateful for those who came before us. We're grateful for their tutelage and understanding. But yeah, there's always a reason to breathe life into something new.
yep.
All right. Okay. So how do you plan on giving back as it relates to those various organizations you currently serve? Do you see that you'll still be able to serve in that manner in the various capacities as city councilman, or do you feel that something will have to go?
I'm always be a member of these organizations. I I align and agree with their mission statements, their purposes, their values, whether it's the Kiwanis or the Elks, Rotary Club. I'm always going to be a member. My time has my free time has dwindled quite significantly since passing the bar, and my job is keeps me pretty busy, and I try to find time to always be involved in the community. There's always some community event, there's always some
Mhm.
arts festival or some type of history lesson. Oh man, another great organization though is this Ontario Heritage Society. They give a lot of
Ooh.
local history lessons. Love them too. So there's always some event going on. The library's putting on something, the Ontario History Museum's putting on something. So it's going to be hard trying to balance, you know, being at all these community events, which I just sincerely, personally enjoy. People
Yeah.
always joke like, "Man, Aaron, you get around. You're at this event. I blink. You're at this event." I love being at all these events. I love learning about the city of Ontario. And I
Yeah.
go to stuff outside of Ontario. People might seem like I only go to Ontario stuff. I was in Rancho the other day. I was at Haven City Market the other day. I go to Pomona stuff. You know, I go to Riverside stuff. I be in San Bernardino. I just love civic engagement, and just being out in the community. But I feel like being on city council and whatever career I pursue next year,
Mhm.
I might switch positions either internally with my current firm
Mhm.
or possibly even change career switch gears and change careers, that's going to be time consuming too. So I just got to figure out the proper balance of, obviously city council is going to be top priority, and my actual bread and butter day job is going to be
Mm-hmm.
top priority. So hopefully I don't have to give up being at all these community events and interacting with great people of Ontario and my service organizations that I'm a part of. I want to be be in it all, and I have a family. I don't have my own personal family. I'm not married
Right.
with kids or nothing, but you know, they call me Uncle Aaron. You know, I got I lost count. I start at this point. I just start numbering my nephews and nieces. I think I got like I don't even know their names anymore. I think I got 12, 13 nephews and nieces. Woo!
You
So
just start numbering them, huh?
yep, yep, yep. Now I know how my mom's mom, Nana.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she used to. That's now I get it because she used to just when she would come visit, she'd be like, "Hey, you boy, what she, you want to Mert's kids?" She never called us by our name. She just called us by our parents' kid. Whatever kid
Yes.
it is, that's what she would say. And now I kind of get that because
It's safer that way.
it's just too many. My brothers and sisters just keep having kids.
So with all that, and I hope and pray definitely for the best in all that you do. Serving in the city council role, tell me about the night that you decided to announce that you were running, to put your name in the hat. What led
That
you to
night,
that?
it was kind of like a slow roll decision.
Mm-hmm.
you know, a slow roll decision. I had a lot of community folks come to me because I guess my track record of being at all these events, I am the nerd. Like I would go sit at a Mountain View school board meeting and people like, why are you here? Uh, they'd be like, oh, it's time for public comment. And like I'm the only non-parent just sitting there, just sitting there to see what's going on with Mountain View. And but it's time for public comment. And then all the heads in the room would turn and look at me because they thought, oh, if he's here, he must be here for a public comment. But I
Right.
wasn't. I was just there just to listen to everything that was going on, or the library board meetings, or the history board meetings, Ontario Museum of History Art board meetings. So I just go to community meetings all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and people notice that, and they would always say, "Hey, with your third generation Ontario resident, you're highly active, highly involved in the city. You're a good guy. You try to have well balanced interactions with everyone. I think
Mm-hmm.
you'd be a good person for you know elected office." And so that started weighing on me like the last year pretty much. And so I put some thought into it, and I finally took the plunge.
And the family support and the community support has been amazing, I would imagine.
Yeah. I didn't know going because politics. A lot of times people tell you they support you until you actually take the action to do it, and then all of a sudden you hear crickets, and
Oh,
that has been the biggest surprise.
yeah.
Some people who I thought would be like very vocal, outspoken supporters have been crickets, and
Mhm.
some people who I thought were like, I didn't know you liked me like that, have been like passing out my yard signs.
Yeah.
Like the it's just politics is so weird. It's just the unexpected supporters that I've
Hmm.
had is really, heartwarming and humbling, and kind of gets you choked up. Like, oh, I didn't know supported me. And then
Right.
some people who act like they support you all day, every day, been crickets. So that's just how it is. Yeah, you just
Yeah.
can't take it personal. I don't. You know, just keep it pushing.
I definitely had to learn not to take it personal, because I'm not in politics, but definitely when you're putting on events, when you're doing ministry, whatever service, right? um you always think that what you've done and how you've helped others, that it'll come back that same way, but it's not like that. It's not always like that. Some yes, others not so much.
But I
And
think you should do it. I think it's important to do things that you're doing without the intent of reciprocation.
True. This is true.
Just do it because you want to do it, not expecting anything back in return.
Well, definitely so. Like, well, let me say this. I've had to come into that fully. Like, you know how there's you we know the scripture in word or deed, in everything in word and deed, you do unto the glory of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that. We live by that. But then there's moments or there's instances where because there's been communal or familiar type relationship, you have that reciprocity in your mind. Even though overall you know that that shouldn't be, because the Bible says, don't put your confidence in man. The Bible talks about helping us to know that if you give to someone, don't even expect it back. Just give freely, right? And knowing that the Lord is, who sees what you've done in secret will reward you openly, right? We know these things, but in relationships oftentimes those things become very distant, and they're not the focal point in your mind because you're looking at from a relationship reciprocity level. And so I can tell you, for me, through these past few seasons where I really had to step back and not take it personal and start reaching back to those scriptures that I just mentioned and applying that and saying, hey, at the end of the day, I know what it is that I've done. I know how I've served. And that's why Hebrews 6 and 10 is on all of my email communications, because he's not unjust. He won't forget your labor of love. He doesn't forget how we have helped one another and those that are in need. He doesn't forget that. And so that's something that I had to definitely embrace.
Mm.
So you got it through politics. You probably got it faster than I did, but hey, we're there now. We're there.
It's a learn. It's something you gotta learn not to take it personal, and yeah.
It's a hard one. So, with that being said, sir, we're going to get ready to wrap up. But I want you to just kind of do a PSA. I'm going to kind of go off camera real quick and just have you talk to the folks and do like a nice encouragement. But I want you to do an encouragement to that young boy, the young man, maybe even the grown man, or that young girl, old girl, whatever it might be, anyone in young or old, how you would encourage them to pursue their dreams, even when it seems like there's been opposition after opposition. Okay. I'll give you a moment to collect your thoughts on how you want to do that. Then I'm going to go off screen. I'm going to let you have that full portion, and we'll just how you would encourage, what you would say. Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. You ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right. You all, I would like to introduce to some that might just be joining and those that might have been watching for quite some time. This is the Aaron Bratton, soon to be Councilman Aaron Bratton, soon to be President of the United States Aaron Bratton, with a message to we the people. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah. So I would say, God willing, I will get the support of the community to be elected to the next Ontario City Council. But I would say Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart and lean not into thy own understanding. In all thy words acknowledge him, and he will direct thy path. So that was instilled in me from my childhood. And that just means, pray, 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 and everything you do, give glory to God, and he will light your path. A lot of people don't know, I actually went back to school at 25. I am 38 years old. I'm almost 40 years old. I went back to school at 25. You don't have to have your life planned out and knowing everything you're going to do and what you're going to do and what career you're going to have and who you're going to marry. You don't have to do all that. So I had plans. They didn't go how I expected. I went back to school at 25. So you can always get your life back on track. You can always change careers or pursue your passion, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So I would just encourage everyone to just pray about what you want to do, ask God to direct your path, and he will set you on what he wants you to do versus what you want to do. And that's what's been the story of my life. Look where I'm at now. Because high school, Aaron, that Camille remembers, would be pointing and laughing at the current Aaron in front of you right now. So you just never know what God has in store for your life. I'm actually running for Ontario City Council. Yes, this Aaron Bratton. And if I'm elected to Ontario City Council, I can guarantee a couple of things. We're gonna have a whole lot better jobs, opportunities. We're gonna have support for our first responders. That's very important to me. Especially with my dad being a firefighter, we definitely got to make sure our first responders are supported. Affordable housing. My family members and friends like Camille, who done left Ontario, we need them to come back. We need affordable housing. We need good paying jobs with livable wages. And we need a lot of youth programs. I had a great childhood growing up in Ontario. We need to make sure our youth have positive outlets. And yeah, that's me. That's what's going on. Hopefully Camille comes back. Yeah, there she is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Listen, I would love to live in Ontario because some people complain that Moreno Valley is too far, but this is where I bought my home. You make some housing because right now, like, over, what is that called, Ontario Ranch,
Yeah.
like houses are going for like the low 550s. Like, get out of here. um
My little sister Marlindy just bought her $1 million house in Texas. They done moved to Texas. Yeah. And if you saw that house, man, the house that she had in Pasadena compared to the house she got in Texas, boy, yeah.
It's probably
California housing market is redunculous for sure.
It is. It is, but I am grateful to God that He always provides. For sure. For sure. Well, listen, Aaron, it's been a pleasure to host you. And I know, the best is yet to come with you. I know, as you just admonished, as it relates to, you starting what you would say late at 25. There's others who might be 45, 55 that might be, and older than that, might be feeling like it's time for them to start. And like Cheryl Lee Ralph said last night when she finally got her Emmy, don't ever, ever give up on you. And we add to that as people of faith, don't ever give up on God. My mom always says every day, never rule God out, because He's able to do exceeding and abundantly above all we could ever ask or think. So we're praying with you. We're praying for you. We're lifting you up as you go through this very intense journey running for city council. But as we know in scripture, God is for you, He is before you, and He is with you always. And so, Aaron, I'm excited for your future. I know you laughing when I call you the future president of the United States, but bruh, I'm just saying, okay? Just saying. We don't know.
Baby steps. Baby steps.
Hey.
I'll be perfectly happy with being able to represent the city I grew up in, the city I love, the city of Ontario.
Well, listen, all I can tell you, and say, like, let's just say 2040, right? And they go ahead and put your name on the bracket, and I gotta sit up there and vote. I want to be the first to say it today on September 13th, 2022. I had him on the Be Healed Web Show back in 2022. And I just know he gonna be the president. I'm just saying. But I'm appreciative of you. One of your constituents, my own, I call her Mama too, but Dolores Jackson, her and her husband, they are proud residents in Ontario, and she says it's nice to meet you. She enjoyed hearing your perspective on all the important issues and look forward to seeing you as their next city councilman, as she is a resident of Ontario. So again, all things that we do are never in vain. That's why God tells us to be steadfast and unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as we know, our labor is not in vain. So thank you for saying yes to tonight. Thank you for joining the Be Healed Web Show, sir. And if you need an MC or a host for your celebration party, I'm just saying.
Thank you for having me. You will definitely be invited to my celebration party. God willing, I have one. Um, and I would love to come back on your show.
Absolutely. Always welcome. We're actually going to be doing the Power of Vulnerability series where I talk to men directly. Yes, that's going to be, I run that between for 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how many guests actually submit. So if you and your brothers would love to be a part of the Power of Vulnerability, I would love to talk with Walter, how he has triumphed from every trial, as well as to hear how you have this nice congealed love between you and your brother. So put a little drop in their ear and see what they say.
My little sister's gonna be mad I left them out.
A little bit.
Hi, Marlindy and Ashley. My little sister Ashley got her nice little eyebrow business.
Oh, see,
Angelic,
okay.
angelic, what's it called? Angelic arches.
Angelic arches. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
And
you have
Walt got his ice cream. I don't know if you've seen his ice cream cone stuff.
no,
Oh, cruising cones. Oh,
no.
that must be hitting. That's the spot right there. They be
Where's
hitting
it at?
everywhere, wherever you is, wherever you want to be.
Well,
Cruising.
we're gonna talk after this because I need to get his information because if he can come out as one of the vendors for our Faith in Blue event on October 7th, I need to get that over to Riverside County Sheriff's.
Okay, I'll plug you in.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, thank you all for tuning in. It's been a pleasure. For all those that have watched, have reshared, who have commented, may God bless and keep you in his keeping care. May you feel the love of God surround you immensely. Even though you might have some bad days, might have some hard days, know that better days are yet ahead. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways, acknowledge him, knowing he'll direct your path. That's what councilman to be, Aaron Bratton, let us know on tonight as he talked about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, as well as even on Spotify. Until next time, the Lord allows us to gather again. You have been in watching view of Be Healed Web Show. I'm your host, Camille R. Perry. We'll say goodnight. Aaron, hang out with me for a little bit, and we'll talk to you all soon.